to aggregate columns. I simply add the aggregate columns action, and this action automatically inherits the data and the profile from the previous step. In this case, I'm taking a look at columns from the edit columns and rows that I've selected for orders. There's two different interfaces that I interact with to aggregate columns for anybody who's familiar with a group by or aggregate function. This should look fairly familiar in that I can group by any categorical field, including date, time, parts, and I can aggregate any numeric field. I can choose, for example, to aggregate based on product name. And I can also take a look at something fairly unique here. Let's look at the created at date time field. So this is simply a date field in a date format, and it automatically gives me the option to group by a particular part of that date field. In this case, I'll choose a year. Now, I can build aggregates functions. For example, I might choose my total price, total tax, and I'm going to sum these and add the average of the mean. What this will do for me is that it will create 6 new fields. The name field, the year field, and then 2 fields each for the summary aggregate variables. The sum of the total price, the average of the total price, the sum of the total tax, and the average of the total tax across each of these grouped by columns, the name and the year. And if I want to, there's also a very unique capability here to rejoin this with the original table. So if I wanted to, for example, simply create a new column in the data set that had the year, I can simply choose to group by year and rejoin with the original table, and it creates a new field for the created at year, in addition to the created at date. I'm not going to do that this time, so I should get 6 new fields back when I hit Save Changes, and I execute this particular setting. As with any execution, I get to see the status in the execution pane, and I can go back to the action space at any time to review the results. The execution is completed, so I can accept the execution and review the results. Here I've got 2 new group by columns, created at with just the year as the date part and the name of the product, as well as 4 different aggregate columns, 2 created from the total tax and 2 created from the total price, the sum, as well as the mean of each. That has been our aggregate columns action. Thanks for watching.